What is up, LobotomizeGang is the guy. You know, the guy who's always depressed. So he figured the best way to remedy that is with an extremely expensive PC. Because as we all know, material possession is the key to happiness. You feeling all sad? Get an 8-core CPU. That'll help you dominate the Gen Alpha children in Fortnite. Because remember, you can't buy skills, but you can always pay for higher FPS. Cute booktuber doesn't reply to your DMs? Get a biffy 16GB GPU. That'll help you render back your shattered ego in 4K. So you see, there are not many problems that a good PC cannot fix. But before we get to that part, I would like to say thank you, okay? Big, fat, chunky, thick thank you to all of you guys who watch my videos, who subscribe to the channel. Just you guys tuning into my videos and watching them means the world to me. If you just extract some form of entertainment, some form of wicked, depraved entertainment from my videos, then I will feel happy. And of course, none of this would have been possible if it weren't for members of my Patreon. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and a special shout out to Oseyers, Otrael, Spyro, and of course Mouse Megala and PR in the big boys tier. None of this would have been possible without you guys, without your monetary support, and I am eternally grateful for your support and all that you have done. I appreciate the fuck out of you, alright? All of you guys, not only members of my Patreon, but also my subscribers, the people who watch my video. With all that out of the way, let's get to the PC building part. But if you somehow don't want to see that, then you can skip straight to the end where I will reveal the final result. So this is me building my first PC. Bear witness to all its glory and all its horrors. Okay, I will explain my thought process going into building this PC. I have two goals in mind. The first being video games, of course, and the second being work. You know, my work here on YouTube, more specifically. And most importantly, I would like to edit my videos in peace, not having to wait around for single-digit frames. Yes, I edited my videos with single-digit frames, you know, from time to time. Maybe in the future, if I have the means, if I'm able to, I would like to do some streaming, but you know, that's for the future. All in all, this PC cost me about $1,500, which is a lot. Keep in mind that prices here are different than in America, so please do not tell me that I should have bought this, should have bought that. I know what I need, I know what I want, and I've done my research. Additionally, I have also consulted one of my friends who used to build PCs for a living, who gave me very useful advices such as just do whatever, it doesn't really matter. So I'm basically an expert at PC building. Okay, let's get to the components. I have my tools over here. I don't know if these are gonna work or not, but you know, we'll have to make do. And then I also have my motor support guy. Say something.
No.
Perfect. Let me clean up this table real quick. Good. Now, let's look at the CPU. I don't know where you guys find the 7800 X3D, but it is freaking impossible to find here in Vietnam. Plus, the ones that are available are extremely expensive, right? They cost an arm and a leg. So I'm not gonna go for that, which is why I went for the second best option here, which is the 7700X. Good price to performance, plus I got this one for extremely cheap. It has 8 cores, which is going to be a big help in video editing. Also, video game, of course. Next up, we have the RAM here. It is a very classic kit, DDR5, 32GB, 6000 mega transfers. The one thing I don't like about this kit is that it has a cache latency of 38, you know, which is kind of high. But here, it is freaking impossible to find a kit with lower cache latency that with a good price, because it is either single-digit frames, which is the difference between this 38 and 32 or 30 cache latency, or 1 week of grocery here. So you know, you know what I'm gonna go for. But plus, it won't really matter, you know. Cache latency doesn't really matter that much. This brings us to the SSD, where I had to make some concessions. I talked a lot about video editing, so you know, realistically I would need a lot of storage. Since I'm very short on time, I need a computer immediately, and I want DRAM, which is why I got the T500, the crucial T500 here, 1 terabyte version. In the future, I will definitely get a bigger one, you know, 4 terabytes or something, slap it on. But right now, because I need it right now, I'm too late now. This is according to the SSD tier list is very high tier. It is blazing fast and also it has DRAM, which was something that I specifically looked for, you know, to help with the longevity and also with the copying and writing and all that stuff. So here we go. Here I have the Phantom Spirit SE. This is the SE version is the non-RGB version. I don't know if it's just me, but I do not really like RGBs that much, you know? Yeah, I don't care about it too much. I just want my computer to be functional and, you know, reasonably priced, which I guess I felt. This kit of RAM only has RGB because it is the cheapest one I could find. What else is there to say about this cooler here? It is a classic. It is very good for the price. Also, it looks massive. It is huge. Just look at this beast. God damn. God, it's big. Keep it in line with the theme of budget here. I have gone for the Asus TUF B65M-E version of the motherboard here. It is not the Plus version, which has a few more IOs and, you know, some different stuff, but these are basically the same. I could have gone for a cheaper board. I wanted to spend some extra money for some good VRMs here. Plus, it looks cool AF. Look at this shit. So cool. Just look at how freaking cool that is. God damn. It also has the IO Shield pre-installed. It has 4 RAM slots, 2 NVMe slots here. This is Gen 5, this is Gen 4 support. Now to the fun part, and the part everybody's been waiting for, which is the GPU 9070 XT. Very simple. Okay, in my country, all right? In this country, NVIDIA is freaking expensive, all right? But this is also expensive. I got this in February when it first launched, and it is $800, which is way above MSRP. But it was the cheapest one I could find. All right, even now, okay, anything that's cheaper is $765. I looked it up yesterday, right? The cheapest one, which always goes out of stock immediately. Okay, the cheapest one is $765. Right? So, you know, this is $800. I don't know if I should have spent that money, but I don't care. Plus, it's my first build, alright? Cut me some slack. I've looked at it many times. I've admired its beauty. It just turns me on. It is huge. It is gigantic. Oh my god, it is so big. That's what she said. I am scared. It shakes me to my core. Look at this. Huh. My god, pretty fans. The only thing I dislike about this design is the weird, the sandy, grainy texture here. I don't like it. But you know, it looks good and it works. Look at this monstrosity. It has 3 8-pin connectors, right? 3 8-pin connectors, my god! This one might be a bit overkill because it is 850, which I don't think is necessary. But you know, it's better to have than to not need, than to need and not have. Also, according to the PSU tier list online, which has been updated recently, this is B tier, alright? And it is very affordable, which is why I have it right here. A funny story, when I first bought this, I was kind of shook because look at the size of this thing. How is it gonna fit in my case? But when I open it, it's small. Which is not what she said. Right here, fully modular. With the power supply review, we have the last thing, the case, which I have not unboxed. Why did they package this thing so tightly? Feels like there's a bomb in here. You see, there's another layer in here. God damn! Woo, boy. So, as you might have seen there, it is the Montech Air 100 ARGB. Good old classic. It is not a very new case, but you know, it serves its purpose. The most important thing was it had pre-installed fans. Since it is my first time, I didn't want to go through the hassle of buying more fans and then hooking them up, RGBs and all that stuff, which is why I have gone with this. This is it, the Montech Air 100. Very classic case here, and we got pretty much everything that we need in the case. And also one thing that I really like that I've specifically looked for is pre-installed fans. So we have 3 over here and then 1 down here. It should be pretty easy to cable manage and build in. I could have done without the huge Montech logo here. Well, you know, the case is extremely cheap. I got it for like $45, so who am I to complain, right? But in the future, I would have liked something a bit more covert, you know? Not so loud. I've laid out pretty much everything that we need to complete this build on this table right here. I think it is good practice, right? So that I don't forget about anything. And if I somehow do, I do have this notes right here, which I have taken and will consult from time to time. First, let's get this horrible part out of the way, the CPU installation. Man, I have watched so many videos, installation tutorials about how to install a CPU, but this is the very first time that I do it. Now we look for the triangle, right? We have one over here, and on the border we have one up in this corner right here. So we're going to slowly and gently drop it in. And it is kind of crooked here, so I'm just gonna slightly nudge it. Okay, it is in. I'm gonna wiggle a little bit. Okay, feels perfect. Now, let down here, slowly, and then we're going to crank it. I heard this needs a lot of power, which I am doing right now. And voila! Voila! Woo! So this is basically, we're basically done. This is, it's child's play. Hey! Wow, it's much easier than I thought. I have watched so many tutorials, so many videos about installation going wrong. And also, what are you talking about this crank here? You say it needs a lot of pressure. I don't feel anything. Kind of easy for me. All right, so let's find the notch right here. It doesn't focus, it focuses on this, okay? So let's find the notch, which is going to be like here. So I'm going to go to this side, then gently, and here we go. Find the groove, which is right here, and then we just push it down. Yeah, you should hear a click sound, right? A lock-in sound. If you don't, it's probably not working. So you're gonna reset the RAM. This is the Gen 5 slot, so I'm gonna slide it in here. This is for my boot drive, and in the future I'm going to upgrade it. And one more thing, remember what I said about the notes? Check the notes, okay? What did it say? SSD, peel, and then latch. What do we have here? We have to peel this, the thermal pad. Okay, so we have to peel the protective film. I don't know if you guys can see, but there is a slot here. There is a notch. You guys can just aim for that notch, and then we're in. You know, see? Pretty easy. Now we push it down. I've watched many tutorials. They say that we should not do just one side. We have to put equal pressure on both sides because we don't want, you know, it to bend or to go into one side and go out of place. And we're good to go. Perfect. All right. Okay, because I am really diagnosed with ADHD. And I forget things very easily. I have done myself a favor of laying these out, right? So this is basically all you're gonna need. If you are installing on this AMD 5 platform here, these standoffs, 4 of them in red for AMD. And how do you place them? You place them exactly like this, okay? In this orientation specifically. Okay, so what did I say? I said we have to check the nodes, right? So we have CPU, RAM, SSD here. Then now we have cooler. All of this will go to here. First, we have to peel the cooler first. Peel this. That's it. And while we're at it, I also have this box over here in which I have put my screws. You know, it never hurts to be safe. Well, you can say that if you build like thousands of these, you build these all the time, the margin of error is a lot higher. But I only do this once, you know, maybe 5 years. I don't know. So I cannot afford to make any mistakes, okay? I have to be thorough. Which is a good advice for everybody, you know? Do everything thoroughly. These are plastic and they just go in like this, okay? They fit just right in. See? I've made a mistake there. I blame the fact that I have autism. I have ADHD, I have autism. I blame those. So these are not supposed to go down. They are supposed to go up. Why? Because the screw here is going into this hole. 95%. 95. We don't want to break anything, right? So pretty secure to me. Now before we install the cooler here, we're going to apply the thermal paste. And one tip that you guys might want to look into, if you are not sure like how fast or how consistent the thing is going to come out of this tube, you can do it on a piece of paper off screen, which I have done. Is this enough of a pee? I don't know. Okay, I think it's basically, you know, Geronimo. As one of my friends said, Just do whatever. Just get whatever. It doesn't really matter. Now I don't know what the hell is going on with my thermal paste underneath these coolers here, but I shudder to think about that. When you install a cooler, it is good to be fully 100% because we need the most amount of contact between the cooler and the CPU. Right, so we're going to go 95, right? 95 now. It is pretty good. If you can wiggle it, if you can put it up and look inside with the pairs of RAM in a way we cannot see the contact between the cooler and the CPU, but I think we've got it. And wow, this thing look humongous. What the hell? Now, before we put it in the case, we must prep these fans, okay? Which I have laid out right here. You're going to need to install these hooks in, right? These clamps, which is like which goes like this. But you know, since this is sort of like a tutorial, I'm going to show you. So just remember the beautiful side here. The side with this is the air is going like this, okay? This is the ugly side. This is the good side, right? The beautiful one. So it's very simple. You just hook it in. Right? Just hook it in. Look, I've preemptively looked at the case and then I see this. These two are going to connect to this one, right? So I'm going to put them in this direction over here, right? So they're going to go down like this, which I think is going to make cable management a lot easier. All right, here we go. Pretty simple. Now we install it onto the thing itself. Excuse me? Are you kidding? It's not flushed. Look at this. God damn! The RAM is too high, too tall for this. So I have to move this up. I have to move this up. Oh my god, it doesn't. It's not flush. And then the one in the middle, I'm also going to have to move up. Sheesh. Let's make sure it sticks. It is tight and secure. All right, and the fan in the correct direction over here. Ah, so far so good. So I'm going to just keep it up like that. Oh my god, it looks deformed. I want my symmetry. So voila, look at this. Look at this. Oh my god. Okay, so it's either both of these are at the same height, or it's either 4 of these are the same height, or you know, 2 is going up. I'm not gonna put one up here and then one down right on this level. Oh, I almost forgot. We have to connect the 2 fans here to this right here, right? So this can go into the fan header on the motherboard, which is right over here. Is the CPU fan header. If it would just focus right here, okay? Doesn't really matter. You guys can see that. Please read the instructions before doing anything. Me, I did it. I read the instructions before this, right? Which is why I'm struggling to find it right now. Okay, I've seen it. With any kind of electronics, I would suggest going in slow so that you don't break something, because you know, these are pretty delicate. Like the number of times that I've seen people snap some of these because they were careless. Man, it gives me PTSD. Now, I think I'm going to tuck these in under here. According to Zach's Tech Tips, you can tuck these in to hide the cables between the RAM and the cooler. I don't know if it's going to overheat the cables and melt them or something. I don't know. But let's just hope they don't melt. Let's just hope they don't cause any complications. And if you're asking me what aesthetics I'm going for, it is the transformer, Michael Bay transformer aesthetic, where you put a bunch of electronics into a washing machine, and then the result comes out like this, okay? So basically we're going to need a giant 24-pin power supply cable, which is this one right here. See this? Oh my god, it's so big. CPU, right? I'm going to need 2 of these. I'm going to need 2 of these. Why? Because my motherboard there, it has an 8-pin connector and it has a 4-pin connector. So I have done myself a favor and separate these out. And in order to do that, you just need to, you just pop, you pull it out. It takes a lot of force. It hurts your hand, but you gotta do it. PCIe, this is for your graphics card. How do you know it is PCIe without reading? You see here, PCIe is a 6 and a 2, right? So these two come together to form an 8. Okay, and the CPU is a 4 and a 4, which I have shown you. We need an additional one because, as we have established, my goddamn monster of a GPU requires three of these. Okay, 3 8-pin connectors, which is mind-boggling. Also, SATA cable. This is SATA. It doesn't say SATA, but you can tell from the shape. And while we're at it, it is always a good idea to plug this in as hard as you can, because you do not want any sort of problem that is caused from not plugging them in all the way in. To, you know, apply a bit of extra force in there. Just look at this hilarity over here. This looks ridiculous. Now that I have done it, I kind of wish that I hadn't. This is so freaking insane. God damn! Now this is done, we're going to move on to the case. Which, as you can see here, I have done the process of removing this side panel here so that we can see the cable management. And also they advise you to remove the glass panel on the other side, which is kind of easy to do. Here, just pop this up, okay, open it, and then lift it up. Lift it off its hinges right here. And then we put it on put it somewhere safe, which is somewhere out of my reach. Okay, so this is basically all that you're going to need. These are called fine thread screws because they are fine threads. And also we're going to need these. These two are standoffs, which we're going to use to install our motherboard. And also this is going to attach to the standoff here. And this head is going in with your screwdriver. Technically, we do not need 2 of these, but I just want to be safe, which is why I'm going to use auto. It might be very difficult to see because I do not have the appropriate lighting. You see here, these are standoff, no standoff, which I'm going to put the aforementioned screw in right here, over here, right? Technically, you do not need this one and this one, okay? But because I want to be safe, I'm just gonna put this in. So this step is actually very, very clunky. So, you know, don't be afraid to spend a little bit of time to get it right. Because if you get it wrong, there's a high likelihood of your motherboard exploding and taking you out. You along with everybody you love. So now, using the box in which I have put the screws, I'm going to put the fine thread screws in here. Alright, I think it is safe to say now that we're in the final stretch of this ordeal. Fan facing down, going into this compartment right here. I'm most probably going to fast forward this part because there are tons of tutorial on how to cable manage that are infinitely better than mine. I recommend going to Toasty Bros channel. That is where I learned to cable manage. We have these 2 separate things here, okay? So these belong to the case. This bunch of here belong to the case. We're going to look at these later. So we're going to look at this, which we have hooked in the power supply. First up, we have 6 plus 2. So these are going to be powering our GPU. So we have 4 of these, okay? If you're following the exact tutorial, we have 4 of these. If your card doesn't require 3 of these, you only need 1. I'm going to put it through this hole right over here, right under the controls here. Man, this would go much faster if I had some help. Now, 4 plus 4 equals 8. It is going to go up here. We have 2 of these and they're going to go up into this hole right here. This is going to be tricky to film, but do you see there? Hey there. We have these 8 here and then we have these 4, right? So we're going to plug our CPU cable in there. Look at that. Oh my god, I don't like how that looks. I kinda hate it. It took me way too long. God dang it. This is the 24-pin power connector. It is going into this squishy hole right over here. Yeah, we have this squishy hole here. Going to go in here. There's a ridge over here. Make sure to line them up. And according to the internet, you should hear a satisfying click. You might also notice that we also have this cable, but as we have established, this is the SATA cable, which is going to connect to this in this bundle of mesh here, right here, just like this, okay? It's going to go in like this. Now we're going to look at the case connectors, all right? Now let me explain. We have a bunch of these. These are going to be the front panel, which is going to be the on-off switch and all that kind of stuff. One thing to note that we don't have a reset switch, okay? Because if you look carefully, we have a reset switch right here. This is going to control the LEDs. So when you press the restart button up here, the LED of the case is going to change. But if you want to control the LEDs with your machine, you can hook, where is it? You can hook one of these headers up to the motherboard. Okay, it is clearly labeled here, ARGB input. Okay, so it's labeled ARGB input here, and you can plug this onto the other side, onto your motherboard on the other side. So this is USB 3. This thing here, it is going in through the same hole. Remember the squishy hole? It's going through the squishy hole right here, and it is going to connect to the header on the other side, which is right under the 24-pin connector. There is also a ridge on this USB 3 cable. They only go in one way, okay? So they're going to go right under this. There is no click, there is only a sound. My God, I have been cheated. Maybe I should have put it through this hole. And I said I didn't care. I do care, and it looks better. Next up, we have HD audio. And HD audio is going somewhere in this general vicinity, okay? Because we have an HD audio port on the other side. And all the way on the left here, it is going to be the HD audio. USB is going somewhere in this general vicinity. There is a USB on the other side. We only have one last one, and it is this white thing over here, and it's going to be the fans for your case. Let's see if they can go through. And it can go through. Yes, this is enough. See that white thing over there? See that white head? See that white connector? Yeah, that is the fan. And right next to it, with the ugly colored wires, there is the USB 2. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a journey indeed. Safe to say I am no longer the man I once was. Something inside me has changed. Whether it be for the worse or the better, we don't know. It remains to be seen. But I am leaning more towards the former. For the worst. I have hooked up the GPU here. I am so tired. I just want this experience to be over right now. And I have also checked everything else. I have reseated all of the cables. I have reseated the power supply. Every single thing, every single plug that can be plugged has been checked. And now, what remains is to turn it on. Never before have I been so scared. Never before have I felt so much dread, so much fear. If this doesn't work, I'm going to put a bullet into my skull because I'm done. I'm finished. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, it's booting. Ah, it's working. Yes, it's working. It's working. It has taken so much. It has taken so much from me. 37. You can't see that, but I can see it. 37 degree. We have dim A2 and dim B2, which is perfect. We're going to keep Expo disabled because I'm going to install Windows and do some reconfiguring. I'm done, okay? I am finished. I'm going to do some window installation. I'm going to upgrade the BIOS, installing video games, benchmarking, all of that stuff, everything tomorrow. You guys are most likely going to see the result in about 3 seconds, okay? Because right now I'm going to need Okay, I spent the last few days tuning my computer, disabling all the unnecessary stuff, debloated Windows 11, and I have also followed some guides to undervolt my GPU and CPU, which results in my CPU going from 95° max to 85° max while keeping the same performance, and in many cases it performs even better. My GPU is also undervolted, which is why it is running at a lower wattage while keeping the same performance. I think in the future, if I keep putting effort into tuning my computer, it is going to run even better. But for right now, this will have to do. Plus, this performance here is nothing to scoff at. Last but not least, because I'm capturing the footage you're seeing right here, the FPS is going to be lower, maybe 5 FPS, 6 FPS lower than it really is. So if you see these results, you can just +5 or +6. The first game we're going to look at is Spider-Man here. I've cranked everything up to the maximum, ray tracing included. It is safe to say that AMD still doesn't run ray tracing or path tracing all that well, but if you have half a mind, you can go into the settings, lower a few things here and there so that you can at least maintain a constant 60 FPS or 72 in this case. I think with some tuning I can get this up to 90 FPS. As a rule of thumb, I always cap my FPS. If I can go 60, then I can try 72, which is half the refresh rate of my monitor. And if I can do that, and I can go to 90, 120, and then at the maximum 144. Also, I never use the default graphic preset that came with the game. I always go into the settings and change each and every single one of them to fit my needs. It is also part of the fun of having a good PC, which is that you can go in there and try to change things up and try to see how much FPS you can squeeze out the game without losing any visual fidelity. Even though the frames look similar, the GPU utilization when you are using FSR is much better. Also, it runs at a lower wattage. Maybe it doesn't matter to you, but it matters to me. Next up, we have Alan Wake 2. This game was not meant to be run without upscaling, okay? I'm just gonna go ahead and say it is horribly optimized, which is why I'm using the FSR OptiScaler thing here, which enables FSR 4, kinda essential right now. It is the much better version. This game still utilizes FSR 2. It is a freaking travesty. This is the maximum setting and the maximum ray tracing available with OptiScaler 4. You can see it is running at somewhere around 50. It doesn't really dip down any lower than this according to my testing. But the one thing I like to point out is that I don't see any substantial differences between RT and non-RT. So when I play, I'm most probably not going to turn any ray tracing on. We have here medium settings and medium RT. Immediately you can see that we have gained about 15 to 20 FPS. So turn off ray tracing. It's not really necessary in this game. Most of the time you're going to run around in some woods, okay, in some shady town. It's not going to be all high and fancy. Unlike this game, Forza Horizon 5, which is actually very well optimized. I'm running maximum setting here, everything cranked up, even ray tracing, and no upscaling, and it is hitting 200 FPS, sometimes exceeding that. So you see, if you just spend some freaking time on optimizing your game, you can have this kind of FPS right here. Granted, you're going to be spending a lot of time looking at deserts and all that kind of stuff, but when you race with other cars, the reflection, the shiny reflection of the ray tracing there, it looks freaking amazing. And this is the only racing franchise that I play, and I love this game. I love this whole franchise. When I play this game, I cap it at 144 Hz, which is the refresh rate of my monitor. It never shows any slightest hint of a dip, okay? So it is very well optimized. Please do this. But you know what I don't like? I don't like this freaking pile of garbage. Look at this piece of poo-poo. This game doesn't have FSR, and it looks blurry as shit, even without upscaling. Even though it is not the most well-optimized game, I think that Cyberpunk runs better than this game. Okay? It's a freaking travesty of optimization. This is why the most popular mods for this game are optimization mods, okay? The most popular one on Nexus is the one that optimizes this game and makes it run better. I didn't even bother to install OptiScaler because I don't want to play this game anymore. I have played it for my review, but I decided to scrap the footage because it was laggy as shit. It was before I had my new PC here. This game I cannot properly benchmark it because I have installed installed a bunch of mods into this. What kind of mods, you ask? Well, mods that make the game not run like garbage. And also one mod that enables the use of a slightly tuned down version of path tracing, which you're going to see on the screen right here. I also have FSR 4 set to quality. When I am not recording, this game runs at a perfect 72 FPS. It never dips even once. So if you're looking to play games like these, I highly recommend that you cap your FPS, you go into the settings and you change it. You try to find a sweet spot between graphics and FPS. Nowadays, AAA games aren't very well optimized, okay? So this is what you have to do. Even with my super beefy computer here, it still doesn't run very well. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was my journey through my first PC build ever. All in all, I think it was a great success. I had a lot of fun. It was easier than I thought it would be. I mean, I've seen some horror stories about people, blowing up their PCs because they didn't plug something in right. So I had to take extra care in order for that to not happen. Maybe this is just me, but people say that installing the CPU is the scariest part. It is also the hardest part where, many things can go wrong. But I feel like it is the easiest part. It is a lot of fun, I can tell you. People say, you gotta use a lot of force. What kind of force are you guys talking about? Granted, I did put a lot of force in it, but it was a lot less than I expected it to be, considering how much people talk about the amount of force you need to use to push it down. Honestly, the hardest part for me was the cable management, More specifically, making the cable that came with the box look good. I ain't got no money to buy cable extensions, okay? So I had to make do, and to think that this whole entire journey started with $15 in my pockets. Yes, literally I had $15 in my pocket and this exact laptop right here. None of these, no monitor, no mouse, no this, okay? And I just started with $15 and now here we are with my $1,500 PC. It is an exciting time indeed. This PC, oh my god, it's gonna make me feel less depressed for like at least 2 days. So, what does this mean for the channel moving forward? Well, you can expect everything, but more. Hopefully. Because this is a brand new PC, it's going to take some time to install all of the software, to establish a good workflow, set up the folder structure, hotkeys, and all that kind of jazz. So maybe it's going to take a while until you guys see the next video. But fret not, because I've written about 75-80% of the script for the next video. So it shouldn't take too long. If you guys happen to see some fancy graphics going around, then you guys will know that I have edited this video with the new PC. Share this video, subscribe and stay tuned to watch me wallow in unceasing madness. If you don't, your computer will explode in 3, 2, 1.